My novel started as a film, and this kind of started as research that I was doing for the novel. I had written several years ago a screenplay called Some Time in the Sun that dealt with the Philippine-American War and this racial coup in Wilmington, North Carolina. After I finished the screenplay, we did some scouting to look for locations, including in the Philippines, and some budgeting, and at the end of the budgeting just realized there's no way in hell anybody's ever going to give me enough money to make this movie. So I put it aside for quite a long time. And then after a couple of years of it just sitting there, I started thinking about how when I was writing the screenplay, I felt like I was cramming too much information into a 2-hour movie. And that it might be nice to try it as fiction where I could expand it a little bit. So I started working on the novel that's actually out there, and if you want to buy one on your way out, that ended up being 760 pages long. And it expanded quite a bit. After I finished the first draft of that, we had some time and I went back to the Philippines to do some research to kind of just lay my eyes on some of the things that I had written about that I either hadn't paid enough attention to the first time I was in the Philippines or had never been there. And so I was describing them from other accounts, and I wanted to really see, okay, if you're on the Manila to Dagupan Railroad, what catches your eye? And so I drove that route and realized, oh, it wouldn't be this mountain, it would be this mountain over on the other side. While I was there, because we'd gotten to know Joel Torre, who was the lead in this movie, he was able to drive around with us and talk about a bunch of things. One thing is that his what we call the Bataan Death March, Bataan, is not very well known here, is that there were an equal number of Filipinos who were fighting against the Japanese who made that same march and were kept in a separate camp. And did just as badly as the American soldiers did, and his father was one of them, who was able to survive that kind of terrible period. But we also started talking about the Philippine movie business, which is a very vibrant movie business that has two big companies who each have a TV network and make features as well. But it's kind of like Philippine Goes Bollywood in that the contract that the crew signs is to work a 24-hour day, followed by an unpaid day off. This is a country with very few unions, including no unions in the film business that have any clout at all. So I kind of asked Joel, who has played Jose Rizal a couple times, about a couple movies I'd seen that seemed to be on a very big scale, and when we said, oh yeah, that was a really big Filipino movie that cost $2 million, a little light bulb went off in my head, and I felt like if I keep this on a village level, I could tell a story from this period. Certainly not with the scope of the novel, but a very human story on a small level that has some of that suggests a lot of the bigger things that were going on there. Basically, what we figured out is that things cost about a third as much in the Philippines as they would in the States. Food, lodging, getting around, all those kind of people's wages, so that we were able to make, this is a movie that I think cost about $1.6 or $7 million, that in a Hollywood studio would have cost 30, but even a sensible movie company here would have spent 10 or 12 $1 million making it, and we didn't underpay anybody. In fact, the crew especially, but also the actors, were kind of thrilled because we were working them Hollywood hours, which were 12 to 14 hours a day instead of 24 hours a day. And they actually got to go home to the hotel at night and hang out with each other and sleep, things like that you don't take for granted if you work in that industry.